Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Young here and welcome to a Dragonborn Q&A session. You guys have been asking a lot of questions about this project and I would like to answer as many of them as possible. I have a list of questions here. I've kind of paraphrased the most common questions that you guys would like to have answered, and they're in no particular order. I'm just going to kind of go down the list and answer as many of them as I can. And before I begin though, I just want to say thank you guys for just the enthusiasm and the positive feedback that you guys are showing and giving to this entire project, this really ambitious project. Just your support and your feedback and your enthusiasm really does motivate me to really make these movies as awesome as possible. And just knowing out there that, you know, this project is something that is being well received and something that people are really looking forward to, and something that people are really interested in, that just really motivates me. So thank you guys very much. And yeah, that's all I want to say. Just thanks. And now let's dive into the questions. The first question is, what is Dragonborn? You know, some people have actually been asking what this is all about because, you know, there are new subscribers on my channel every day. And so yeah, let me just give you guys a little rundown of what Dragonborn is. Dragonborn is my project of sort of cinematizing Skyrim's main quest. And with Skyrim I have a lot of flexibility because, you know, the console commands and the mods allow me to do things with the characters and the camera and really film cinematic footage. And so yeah, it's very much possible to make a movie with Skyrim if you put your mind into it, and that's what I'm doing. So I've already released Act 1, so if you want this question answered, what is Dragonborn, just go watch Act 1. That'll pretty much tell you everything you need to know. And Act 2 is coming along, and Act 3 will come when it comes. So, next question, will Dragonborn have a name? The answer to that is no. A lot of people have been asking if Dragonborn actually has a name, and the reason he doesn't is because, one, the in-game dialogue which I'm using to create this movie, you know, I don't have other voice actors shoving in their own dialogue. I am using the default dialogue that comes with the game, and I'm just voicing Dovahkiin. That's the only sort of external voice that's being provided. But yeah, the in-game dialogue just doesn't lend itself to Dragonborn having a name. They call him Dragonborn, you know, they don't call him, you know, Bob or Peter or Pedro, you know, they just call him Dragonborn. And also, Dragonborn itself, the word is just so universal at this point that why not just call him Dragonborn? Why have people fighting over what his name should be? You know, that's up to you when you play the game, but in this movie I just wanted to have this universal word for our hero, and that word is Dragonborn. Everyone knows Dragonborn, so why not just keep that as sort of the character's title and sort of name, so to speak. Next up is, how long did it take to make Dragonborn Act 1 from concept to finished product? I actually started making this in 2011. The idea was first conceptualized at around, I believe, mid-2011. I don't know, memory's foggy. And I began working on it at around the end of 2011. But unfortunately, shit happened with my computer. It started getting blue screens because I think my motherboard got fried or something. So I had to send the machine back, and unfortunately, they formatted the wrong hard drive. I told them not to format, you know, the company who was trying to repair the computer. I told them, do not format this hard drive, and what do? They format that one hard drive that had all the footage that I filmed. So yeah, the movie was actually supposed to come out 2012, and I had it delayed for like an entire year because I had to get everything back up and running again. So yeah, the movie released summer of 2013, so I would say 2 years would be a good estimate in regards to how long it took. And mostly it had to do with just technical difficulties. If everything ran smoothly, it would have taken maybe a year. And now that may concern you, you know, oh my god, so Act 2 is going to take a year? No, I've actually learned a lot, you know, with my experience with Act 1. I know how to machinimate better with Skyrim. You know, there are a lot of things that I didn't know coming into Act 1, and I've learned a lot with Act 1, so things are going to go a lot faster, a lot more, you know, snappy and smoothly. So Act 2 will definitely take shorter to make. It's going to take a shorter amount of time to make. So don't worry, it's probably not going to take a year unless some shit happens, which I hope it's not the case. Next up, oh yeah, what mod was used for Cyrodiil? if you watch Act 1, at the beginning there's this scene within Cyrodiil, but it has Skyrim characters, and a lot of people are wondering, how the hell did you do that? Well, there's this mod out there called Skyblivion. This is from the same people who are making Skywind. Essentially, these people are trying to remake Morrowind using Skyrim's engine, and they're doing the same with Oblivion, actually. It's quite an amazing project. It's quite cool. Skywind is coming along quite nicely. Skyblivion, it's still in its early stages. I mean, all that you can download right now is basically the actual world. But yeah, you can't really actually... There's no quests, there's no NPCs, there's nothing. The whole world is empty, but the world itself can be imported into Skyrim through this early version of Skyblivion. So I used that and brought in my own characters and made a scene with it. So yeah, so Skyblivion, look it up, you'll find it quite easily. And Skywind is also something else that they're doing, and I'm actually providing my voice for Skywind. You know, a lot of Morrowind wasn't voice acted, so they're looking for voice actors, and I figured, hey, this sounds like a lot of fun, so I'm providing voices for a number of NPCs, Khajiits, Imperials, Nords, you name it. Look forward to that. The next common question is, when will Act 2 be released? Like, I know it's going to be 2014, but when in 2014? Do you have a more specific window? And if I were to guess, I'm not 100% sure, but if I had to give you an estimate, I would say end of spring 2014. At least that's my goal, but I really don't know at this point. I'm not far enough into the project to be able to estimate a good time in which Dragonborn Act 2 will be published on my channel, but my goal is end of spring 2014, so keep that in mind. I hope that answers your question. Next, we have another question in regards to Act 2, and the question goes, will side quests be explored in Act 2? My answer to that is no. I will not deviate from the main quest storyline for the Dragonborn series. You know, that's the whole point of the Dragonborn series, just the main quest. That doesn't mean that I will not do something separate for maybe some of the guild quests or some of the larger and more interesting quests, but right now I'm just focused on the main quest, and depending on the success of the Dragonborn series, that'll sort of define how much further I go. Maybe I'll do a movie on the Dawnguard DLC or the Dragonborn DLC, but again, it all depends on the success of this main quest series, Dragonborn. So there you go. On a similar note, we have the question, will there be sequels after Act 3? So I'm guessing people who have this question are referring to like Dragonborn or Dawnguard. Again, depends on the success of Dragonborn. If that really takes off, then sure, why not? I'll do Dragonborn and Dawnguard. Probably Dawnguard first, since it came out before Dragonborn, but it all depends. Oh, here's an interesting one. Have you considered designing your own mods for Dragonborn? I have considered it, but I have not gotten to it. I really would love to learn how to mod Skyrim, and I've tried getting into it, but I just don't have the time currently. But that is definitely something that is on my agenda, because if I want to make Skyrim machinimas, I at least have to be able to script scenes. That's what I really want to learn. Stuff like graphics and weapon mods and armor mods and, you know, all those super awesome complex mods. I don't need to learn how to make those because, you know, the Skyrim Nexus is there for that. You know, the Skyrim mod community can provide me with most of the mods that I need. What they cannot provide me is scripting a scene specifically the way I want it. So I want the character to move this way and say something and then walk this way and then maybe turn his head that way. Stuff like that. That's what I need to learn how to do. And I'm going to get on that as soon as possible. That way I can really make some unique kind of machinimas and not just sort of Skyrim storylines. But I don't know, we'll see what happens with that. But I've considered it, and I'm still considering it. I just haven't gotten around to doing it or learning it for that matter. Another very common question is, what part of the storyline will Act 2 cover? Well, if you've watched Act 1, you will know that Dragonborn has finally slayed his first dragon. He has absorbed his first dragon soul, so Act 2 will pick up right where Act 1 left off, and Dragonborn will, of course, report to, Jarl Balgruuf, etc., etc. So I'm assuming the real question is, what part of the storyline will Act 2 end? You know, when will that cutoff point be? I still haven't reached a 100% decision, but the best answer I can give you right now is that it'll probably be the quest called Alduin's Bane, which is when Dragonborn finally learns the Dragon Rend shout and has that small battle against Alduin at the top of the throat of the world. And it's gonna be mostly a battle between Paarthurnax and Alduin, and with Dragonborn intervening at the end. That's sort of what I have in mind now, but we'll see what happens. But that's probably the safest bet, because if I move that to Act 3, then it's gonna be kind of repetitive with battling Alduin, you know, once and then battling him again at the end. So yeah, I think a good way to conclude Act 2 is with this awesome battle between Alduin and Paarthurnax and the Dragonborn, and that's my plan. So the next question is, will you add new mods to Act 2? Yeah, a lot of people have been complaining about the ENB that I used last time. It was just way too bright during the daylight. It was just blinding, and I have to agree. So I'm actually using a new ENB. It's called Real Vision. It's like one of the most endorsed ENBs out there. In fact, it's probably the most endorsed ENB if you check the Skyrim Nexus right now, and it works quite well. Very sort of realistic and grounded, but at the same time, this ENB gives the Skyrim graphics a really nice shine and polish. I've also improved the facial textures. A lot of you guys asked about that, and yes, I do agree that especially the females have this very doll-like looking face. So I've added something new this time, and it looks a lot better, a lot more mature, a lot more realistic, more rugged looking, as it should be in Skyrim. Another very common question was, will there be romance in Dragonborn? And the answer to that is, unfortunately, no. I really did want to find a way to integrate a romance between Lydia and the Dragonborn, but it's just the way the game is structured and just the dialogues that Lydia have, it just won't work. It just won't work in a way that's good. Now, I have actually been thinking about getting a female voice actress to do Lydia and have some kind of interaction happen with Dragonborn, but I don't know, just the way the game is structured, there's just not a lot of room for Lydia to be in and for a lot of character development to happen, and it would just take a lot more time to create this movie. It's just another variable. You know, with Skyrim already being all kind of scripted and adding Dragonborn into the factor, if now I add Lydia into the factor, it's just going to really complicate everything, the entire process. I don't know if I'd be able to get a voice actress in time, and I don't know if just the romance aspect would fit within the game structure that I'm working around. So since I'm working with the Skyrim script and structure, I feel like I wouldn't be able to effectively create a romantic story. So I'm going to have to say no, unfortunately, but I would have loved to do a Dragonborn / Lydia romance, but maybe, I don't know, maybe in future production, maybe I'll think of something, but for now, the answer is no. Sorry, folks. The next question is, what is the published to recorded ratio for the movie? In other words, how much of the filmed footage did you actually use? Well, the answer depends on what you are asking. If you're asking about sort of all the tries that I had to do for the same shot, because I really wanted to get these shots perfect and I had to do many tries for the same shot. If we include all those tries, Jesus Christ, I would say only 30% of all the footage that I filmed has been included in the final production of Dragonborn Act 1. But if we're just talking about the specific shots that I planned and what parts of those were included in the final product, then I would say around 90%. Pretty much all the shots that I visualized were included. There were a few that were excluded, but for the most part, all of them were included. But each of those shots, or most of those shots, I had to try a number of times to get it just the way I wanted it, and that by itself took up like tons of time. So yeah, if you include all the retries, then 30%. If you just include the shots that I actually, visualized and included, 90%. I hope that kind of makes sense. And for the final question, I have, how much of Act 2 is actually completed? When it comes to 100% completed, like everything done, 10 minutes of Dragonborn Act 2 so far have been just completely edited. Now before you freak out saying, whoa, what the hell have you been doing these past few months? I took a month break after Dragonborn Act 1 launched because I had to gauge the audience reaction to Dragonborn Act 1. There was no point in spending months of extra work on Dragonborn Act 2 if nobody was interested or if people thought the movie sucked. So I had to actually gauge what the audience reaction was like. And fortunately, it was all very positive. People loved the movie. 200,000 views so far. It's all very awesome. So after I gauged the audience reaction, I said, okay, let's move on with Dragonborn Act 2 since people seem to want more of this. So after I made the decision to proceed with Act 2, I had to remodify a lot of the game because, you know, people were complaining about the face textures and the EMB and this and that, and some of the mods were making the game crash in the middle of recording, you know, in the past, so I had to find ways to rectify that. And so yeah, a big portion of the time that I spent these past few months was just making sure that the game was stable, that everything was consistent, that the mods were good, and that everything was just exactly as I needed it to be. And then I began filming. Now that winter break is here, I can just focus on just Dragonborn Act 2, film, and all that good stuff. So a lot of work is going to get done throughout the winter. And my hope is that by the time winter break is over, I'll have pretty much most of the movie completed, and that hopefully I'll be able to keep up with the spring 2014 release window that I have in mind. And by spring 2014, I mean by the end of spring 2014. So there you have it, folks. I hope that answers all the questions you have about Dragonborn Act 2. I know you may have some other questions, but you know, right now I just have to focus on completing the movie. I hope you guys look forward to it because it's looking really good right now, and just can't wait to show it to you guys, and I can't wait to see what the final end product will be like. Anyways, that is it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. If you have more questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to answer by, you know, replying to your comment. Yeah, in the meantime, I'm just going to be working on Dragonborn Act 2. I'm going to bring out some awesome news updates and analysis and all that good stuff. And also check out my Young Plays channel if you want to watch some Let's Plays, or as I call them, Young Plays. And yeah, be sure to join the NASIAN and subscribe to both channels, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much, and Young out!